Once upon a time, in a kingdom far, far away, there was a terrible famine. People were dying left and right, and the ones who survived were so hungry they would eat anything they could find. One day, a young boy who hadn't eaten in days wandered out onto the streets. He was so hungry he could feel his stomach rumbling from within. As he walked past houses, he would peek in the windows, hoping to see something, anything he could eat. But all he saw were people huddling together, too weak to even cook a meal. Just when he thought he couldn't take another step, he saw a small bakery in the distance. He stumbled towards it, hoping to find some food. And when he got closer, he heard the sound of an oven, a real oven. He pushed open the door and was met with the most amazing smell he had ever smelled in his life. Behind the counter was an elderly woman with flour on her hands and a kind smile on her face. She looked at the boy and asked, "Can I help you?" The boy couldn't speak. All he could do was nod towards the oven. The woman understood and, without saying a word, took a loaf of bread out of the oven and gave it to the boy. The boy looked at her in disbelief. No one had given him anything for free in a very long time. In fact, he couldn't remember anyone giving him anything for free in his entire life. "Are you sure you don't want this?" he asked, looking down at the bread in his hands. "It's just bread," the woman said with a smile. "And besides, you look like you need it more than I do." The boy couldn't hold back his tears any longer. He threw his arms around the woman and whispered, "Thank you." Then he ran out of the store and into the street, where he began to devour the bread he had been given. The woman watched him go and shook her head with a smile. She knew that one day the boy would come back and surprise her. And she was right. Years went by and the boy grew up. He worked tirelessly to learn the baker's craft, and he became one of the best bakers in the kingdom. One day, he heard that there was an old woman who owned a small bakery on the outskirts of town. And he knew that this was a woman who had saved his life. He found her old and weak, barely making ends meet. Without thinking twice, he bought her bakery and gave her enough money to live the rest of her life. He also hired her to be the face of his new bakery chain, which became one of the most successful businesses in the kingdom. One day, he found her sitting alone in her old bakery, which he had turned into a museum in her honor. She was crying, and when he asked her why, she said, "I can't believe that one small act of kindness could change both of our lives forever." If this story moved you, don't forget to like, comment, and share to spread the message of kindness. Subscribe for more heartwarming and motivational stories that inspire change.